programs, as you know, we're focusing on what God is doing in different nations of the world. A lot of our emphasis is on non-European countries, but we haven't forgotten Europe. We haven't forgotten Italy. And we thank God for what is going on in the nation. It's a tough nation to work in many ways because it's steeped in legalistic religion, and evangelical churches need much more breakthrough than we've currently experienced. We thank God for what He's done over the years. But today I'd like you to meet Claudio Ferro. Hello, Claudio. Welcome to the program.
Hello. Hello. Great to be with you, Colin.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself for people who haven't met you before.
Well, I'm a son of Kensington Temple because I was born again in KT. It was quite some time ago, 30 years ago. And actually, all my story as a newborn again is going through Kensington Temple because after I got saved, I went to IBIL. I did 2 years of IBIL and I started in London. The satellite church was for Italians. The Italian Fellowship was called in 1992. So all the 90s I spent in London until, if you remember, Colin, it was you, we were together, I was your translator to a conference for the healing churches in Italy. When you told me, why we don't open a church in Rome? And you didn't know that God was telling me exactly that, to go to Rome and to start a church, something I would have never done it if you would have not told me so, because it wasn't my intention to go back to Italy. I was so happy in Kensington Temple in London, pastoring the Italian Fellowship. But so it was 2001, the end of 2001, when I moved back to Rome. And I started a church there, the mission, the Kensington Temple mission to Italy, with a lot of help from the IBIL students. Every year, groups of IBIL students were coming to Rome to do spiritual warfare and to evangelize. So many KT pastor came. You, Colin, came many times to our conferences in, all over Italy, from Milan to Sicily. It was really a great time with God. And so this in Rome went on until 5 years ago, when God suddenly, in a way, moved me to this area where we are now, because I realized that there are parts of Italy where there are no evangelical churches, like where I'm in now. It's called Orvieto. It's a beautiful small town in Umbria. And actually, I live in a village called Lubriano that got just 900 inhabitants. But all the area around here, there are many, towns, small town, villages. It's a quite rural area, but many tourists come over here because it's beautiful for tourism. The problem here is that there are no evangelical churches. There have never been an evangelical churches in this area. We are the first one to start it. The closest evangelical church is 50 kilometers from here. Another small church, from another missionary. So it's an area that needs God. So we have started here to evangelize. We started the work here. Thanks God, as the church is growing. We are still using, for the moment, a hall that we rent on Sunday, but soon we will have our own place. We are just waiting for a beautiful place, beautiful building that will be free at the end of the summer. So we are preparing to move in our own place and to do the work of the Lord around here.
Claudio, one of the things that people might be interested in is the thought of mission to Europe. mission into Europe. A lot of people think of Europe as being the kind of, birthplace of Christianity well, anyway, not the birthplace of Christianity, that's the Middle East, but very much a Christian continent, Christian part of the world. But actually, mission into Europe is very significant. We're living in a kind of post-Christian continent in some respects, and I know Italy is a little different in a way because it is a Catholic nation still in many, many ways. Would you talk a little bit about what it meant to you to start a church, a mission in Rome, and then now to extend it to where you are? What difficulties did you face? What was the response, and how did you go about it?
Yes, this in fact is something that I had to discover because I remember when I was at IBL, I thought to be a missionary to Africa. This was my idea for doing the Bible school. Then during the Bible school, God showed me that the Italians need Christ because, we know Italians, they are Catholic. Everybody here will say, I'm a Catholic. But they don't know the Bible. They don't know why Jesus died on the cross. They have the crucifix everywhere, but they don't know really that you can have salvation just believing in Him. It's always about works and religion. So I realized that Italy is a mission field. Like today in the rest of Europe, is a big mission field because people is very materialistic. People, yes, if they believe in God, He's just a God quite far away, a God that has no interest really in their life. Everybody live their own lives. Here is very strong Catholic. The culture is very strong Catholic. This area where I'm now used to be the Vatican Kingdom, or they call it before, and spiritualities. So people here, when you talk about, God, they don't have any relationship. They may go to church, to the Catholic Church on Sunday, but during the week, they everything but Christians. And especially they not saved. They don't know if they're going to heaven. They hope in a purgatory. They hope in some kind of, let's go with it. So I believe today Europe is the place for the mission because especially Europe, like south of Europe, France, Italy, Spain, and those Catholic countries, they never seen a revival, a real revival. Like, we talk about the revivals in England, in north of Europe, in the Protestant countries. They have revival with hundreds of thousands of people getting saved in short times. Well, in Italy, it never happened. And many other countries of Europe, I think it never happened a revival in all history. We have to go back to Paul to speak about a revival in Rome, but it's quite far away, isn't it? So I think it's the time for Europe to see a revival. I've been studying the revivals in South America, revivals in Africa, Reinhard Bonnke, and all these great things that we have seen happening in those countries, those continents. And my dream is to see it happen in Europe, because I always pray, why not Europe, God? Why not to see the stadium filled, with Italians and, with Europeans? Because often what's happened, even here in Italy, like in Rome, you go to Rome, you see some, quite large churches, but often they are Africans, South Americans, thanks God for them, thanks God, and they are here. But you don't see large churches with Italians, So I think Europe is in need of a revival, is in need of missionaries that they will come to touch the local people.
Now, over the years, you've had a number of breakthrough moments where opportunities have come your way. Would you talk to us about what God is doing now, the opportunities you have after 20 or more years of working back in Italy, the opportunities, the doors the Lord is opening to you, and some stories of how people's lives are being touched.
Yes, God is good. You see, and He opened doors and you never imagine. Example, I go every Thursday to the prison here in Orvieto, and then this is a door that God has opened, because also in the prisons, the Catholics, the priest has, his chapel there, and if you wanted to go to a mass, you go to the Catholic mass, but then go through a lady that worked inside the prison that got saved, and she was able to open for me a door, and we started the Alpha course in the prison. And I saw, now it's 2 years, then I go there every Thursday, and I saw some amazing work of God in there. Example, the one probably is more in my heart is Peter. He's a young man that is there because he killed a prostitute. I can speak about him because he wants to give his own testimony now on the television. I will talk about it. And so he was there for life sentence, and his life was destroyed. 27 years old man. He came down to the Alpha course because another inmate invited him and said, "Yeah, just come and meet Claudio. Just come. We have a talk there." And so he came to the meeting, and from the first time he was touched, by God. He got saved, and now he's my disciple there, and he's doing an amazing job. He's studying this word of the Spirit. He's bringing the word to other people, and he's really my disciple inside. And now he wants to give his testimony. So because we have a program on a local television here, also that we do weekly. And it's a program of testimonies on, a secular local television in the area. And we have tried to organize, there is some bureaucracy to work out, but then he will give his own testimony from the prison. Another testimony in prison just 1 month ago, later, a new inmate came down, invited by another one for the Alpha course. He came down and he gave his life to Jesus, straight away on the first meeting. And the funny thing is that Jesus not only opened the door of his heart, he said, "I come to free the prisoners, to open the prison cells." And he didn't open only his heart, but just the same week, he was free to go out from the prison, even before, his sentence was finished. They let him out, for some kind of grace, then he got it. So God is really working inside the prison. We have the Alpha course is working very well for us. Obviously, now we cannot meet together for it. We can have the dinner together, the things that we prepare on that. So we do it on Zoom. And even on Zoom, he's working. One testimony of just a few weeks ago, we had this, his name is Sandro, this man, joining in he was atheist, so he wasn't really much convinced about it, but, okay, the friend invited him. I just zoom in, and I see what it's all about. And we show the videos on Zoom, and then, we divided in rooms to talk. At the beginning, the first 2-3 weeks, he was, coming out with his own ideas. He said, "Yeah, I tried once to read the gospel, but I didn't understand much, so I'm not really interested in that because I don't really have faith." But then, it was around the fifth or the sixth week, he suddenly, he opened his heart. He gave his life to Jesus. He said, I don't know what happened, but I start believing. And he started to read the Bible, and he said the following week, oh, but now I understand what I'm reading. And just last Monday, it was we were talking about prayer. We were on the week talking about prayer, God healing the sick. And he said, oh, but I got COVID in my family. So I was praying for my mother, praying for my aunts, and they accepted the prayer, and they happy, and I can pray and say, and they say, what happened to you? You were an atheist the other day, and now you're praying for us. So he was able to share also with his own family, and he said that, now I'm not ashamed. I said, I speak about Jesus everywhere, even at work. He just made a little prayer and said, Father, I need a promotion in my work. And he just got it. He got the promotion. So it's an amazing testimony of what God can do, even, when we are not able to meet together, but, we can share it using Zoom or using other platform. We can still share in the gospel.
It's wonderful what God can do through an atheist and bring them to Christ. I want to talk to you about the sword of the Spirit. First of all, to let everybody know that it was you who translated the sword of the Spirit from English into Italian, and that has been distributed quite widely. Can you tell us how the sword of the Spirit has been, how you've used the sword of the Spirit in your ministry?
Yes, so like I was saying before, when I came to Italy, so we started the ministry, and I felt that then, we need a sword of the Spirit here in Italian because, it's a Catholic country, but people don't know the Bible. So, sword of the Spirit is this great tool. And also, for example, we have adorare in spirito e verità. Worship in spirit and in truth. And we got all the 12 books translated. I translated also the manual for the students, exams, PowerPoint, all the material then you put at disposal, Colin, for the schools. And so we started this Word of the Spirit. I've done it through a few times now because, every year I started normally every 3 months I start a new course with my own church, but I had the opportunity to bring it to many other churches. There were a time where I was flying every week to Sicily to give this Word of the Spirit to 2 different churches during the week. And other churches in Italy now, they're using more and more, is spreading this great course, a great way to learn the Bible. And yeah, this is it's really working. It's working well for Italians because, like often, I said that even between the Italian pastors, there are no. It's not easy to get to a Bible school. If you want a Bible school, a good Bible school, you have to get abroad. You have to go to America, to England, to some other country, because in Italy, there are a lot of Bible courses, but not a real Bible school. So most of the pastors in Italy, they don't have a real training. They've been working with their own pastor, and then one day they start in a new church, often splitting the church they're part of, and starting something new with a group, and then they become pastors, and but they don't have a good, solid Bible teaching. So we try with the Word of the Spirit and other material from you, Colin, that we had translated. We had translated Satan Unmasked and the one on the motion and other of your books I translated in Italian, just to give, especially to the pastors, good material to work on, because this is a great need here.
You've also had opportunity to present an evangelical program on television. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this is another idea we had a couple of years ago. We want, to reach the people in this area. There are, like I was saying, many small villages. And then I heard there is this local television. Is one of those television. They show the local football match, the local news, some advertising on things around here. So I went to speak with the owner of this television, and he gave us this program for a good price. To say we bargain on it, like Italians do. So at the end, I had a good price to put on this program. It's an half an hour program. Then normally I bring somebody with me, and it's me and my wife Simona. And we, host the program, and we bring some testimony, some strong testimony of healings, of salvation. And we share this half an hour program, and every week goes 4 times a week. It goes different days. Goes this program, and we had many telling us, "Oh, I saw you on the television. I like what you do," because people at home feel more comfortable. To come to an evangelical church here is still kind of cultural. They think that they break with the culture, they break with the past, with the family, if they just come inside to an evangelical church. So going inside the houses, we have found is a good way to reach them. So this is the program. We had also some people getting saved, coming to the church through the program. Some people then responded, and they called us. So we had a way of visiting them, and after a while they join the church. So we see some good fruits from it also.
Now, I also understand you've got a new opportunity as the chaplain of the local fire brigade. How is that working out?
Yeah, this is another new thing. It just started, I think, a few months ago, with a fireman that was one of my disciples in Rome. Actually, got saved when I was in Rome, with a church in Rome, and was my disciple because it was training as a fireman, and then after I started to work there, then he moved to Sicily, and he joined another local church there. He grew in the Lord, and then he contacted me a few months ago with this idea to start the Christian Firemen Fellowship, because it's I think it's never been in Italy. So he said, I got this dream. I would love to, because even in the fire brigade, the Catholicism is quite strong. They have their own protector, it's Santa Barbara. They're very devoted to this saint that protect them from the fire and all these things. So we have discovered, we have started to search, and we find out, and there are around in all Italy, speaking about, I think there are 60,000 firemen in Italy, and there are 40 evangelicals. So we have contacted them, and we started to put them together to start to do this evangelical Christian fellowship for the firemen. And I found that is very important, because often they are alone. Maybe in the fire brigade station, they are just the only evangelicals, and often it's very difficult for them to share the gospel in that kind of environment. So knowing that there are other evangelicals that they can have a fellowship, I found that is very encouraging for them. Also, I contact the Christian firefighters from England. Actually, the director is in England. And I'm working with him now. Simon is his name. I'm working with him. We had different meetings to start to organize when there will be the opportunity for a team of firefighters, Christian firefighters, to come over to Italy and visit the stations where they can give a testimony. Firefighters with firefighters, they understand each other. If I present myself as a pastor, probably they will laugh at me. But if I go there with other firefighters from England or from America or other places, the door open. So it will be a great opportunity to go and give a testimony in that kind of environment.
Well, it's wonderful talking to you today, Claudio. Thank you so much for all that you've done. And we appreciate the relationship that we have with you and the 30 years or more in which you have been sharing with us and part of us, and also for those 2 decades that you've been back in Italy, a very significant mission field, as indeed is England as a mission field. And thank you for all that you do. And we're praying for you, and we want to pray for you all the more and pray for you with more information. So would you share with us some of the important prayer needs that you'd like us to cover in prayer?
Italy is, politically speaking, about the nation is on a time where actually the government that we have is not being elected. It's just a government, they call it technical, and what they do a crisis in the government, and then these other people, one of them, is Draghi, and then we know where he's coming from. And so behind all of that, there is a lot of masonry, and there is a lot of, control over the nation. So we need to pray that Italy will be able to have a government that will be elected by the people, and that we will have more freedom. Also, obviously, the Catholic Church, especially with this new Pope that we have, and this Francis, actually is really going more and more into a kind of humanistic religion. And so even the little bit that they had of Jesus and of God, I can see that they're going far and far away. So with the gender, the only one today that they are fighting in Italy against the gender, and especially in the schools and all of this, it's us evangelicals, because for the rest it seems to be normal. What is going on. In fact, there is a law then they want to pass, and probably they will pass it soon, that will allow the gender to be taught in the schools, and many other similar things we know, where is going all of this. So we need to pray for this nation that is really going more and more far from God. On the other side, we need to pray for a revival. We need to pray for the evangelical churches, then they get more together. There is a lot of division, denominations. We are small churches, not many, and often divided. So that God will really put us Christians together to give a strong testimony in a time like this, a strong testimony of the Word of God, a strong testimony even in the life outside the churches, because often the evangelical churches has been a lot close inside, just working for my own church to start to grow my own church. And there are no really influence into politics, into media, into the work. So lately things are changing. Churches and pastors start to understand, and they have to look outside the church, also the church as a building. So we have to pray that we have more influential in the life of the nation as Christians.
many people will know that the Apostle Paul headed for Rome, and hopefully in his day to move on from Rome to go and continue to evangelize. And Rome, of course, was the capital of the old Roman Empire, and it was strategic a city for the then known world. And how interesting that today we are still looking to evangelize Rome and Italy, and to bring call Italy back to God. And so prayer is very, very important, that the opportunity for the gospel to expand. And also in my visits to Italy and in sharing with you and Simone, Claudio, there is one thing to see people make a commitment to Christ and pray them through that, and then to begin to disciple them. But it's also another thing to gather them into real church community, to understand what it means to be a local expression of the body of Christ, not just church attendance or attachment to a religion, but to build a good, strong evangelical community. Now, while we are recording this program, we're still in somewhat of a COVID situation. And I just wanted to ask you about how you see the future post-COVID in regathering people who are not used to gathering in buildings so much now, but watching online. How would you like us to pray for that on into the future?
Yes, obviously, like in Italy, like the rest of the world, the COVID and this pandemic has put a lot of fear on people, and so they prefer to stay home, work from home, study from home, and doing church from home. And the problem is that we cannot have church from Rome. Church means assembly, getting together. And so it's difficult to get together on internet. So we pray that there will be this coming back as soon as there will be the opportunity. Thanks God, even through the COVID, we are being able, apart when there is totally lockdown, but normally we are being able to meet anyway in the churches with distances and all of that. But at least 30% of the church has just disappeared. And it's very difficult to keep contact with them and try, to bring them back to the church. But I believe there will be something new that God will do post-COVID. We're always talking about, after the COVID, the world will not be the same. Many things will be different in this world, in this society. Obviously, they will. But I think also in the church. And I'm positive. I believe that after COVID, the church will be stronger. Our meetings, they will be fuller, and people will understand more the importance. At least God will bring people to understand that it's absolutely important that we just join together. I have just a small testimony in Italy, during the fascism. Before the Second World War, the evangelicals, they could not meet together. They were a law, then evangelicals, they were out of law, so they could not meet. And what they did, they met anyway, and they met, in canteens, they met, in the country, in the outside, so where they will not be seen. But obviously, there were some spies, and time to time they were catching them. I knew a pastor, now he's with the Lord, but I met him. And he told me that he has been in prison during the fascism, during those years, 17 times. And it was not just prison, it was a lot of beating, and you got. And after they were releasing, and he was going and meet again with his brothers and sisters, knowing that they will catch him again and bring him to prison again. So, that heart, I think, will come back to the church. because we speak about it in China and places like this where, Middle East, where people, the church underground, and we are so comfortable then, we don't understand the importance to meet. But God will do something, and we will meet again, I'm sure, in large crowds, and we worship the Lord, shoulder to shoulder, and it will happen soon.
Yes, I believe so. We will. We will meet again, and something new. God has something new for us in store. And I'm looking forward to meeting with you again in person, with you and Simone. I remember, you will recall too, not so very long ago, when I was evicted from a certain North African country, illegally, by the way, illegally evicted. But I had to get the first available flight out of there for my own security and as a result of what certain people were doing amongst the authorities. It wasn't official, but it certainly was quite disturbing. And anyway, the first plane out was to Rome. And I thought, oh, praise God. I've been meaning to go to Rome. And so I arrived at the airport. I was going to make a quick connection to come back to the UK, but then my flight was cancelled. So I had to stay overnight by the hotel, by the airport. And I called you and Simone up, and we went to a little nice Italian restaurant, little bistro. Is that what you call them? Bistros? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Bistro. The original ones. And we shared together. And so fellowship has been sweet. We thank God for you. Thank you for your long association with us and our partnership in the gospel. And Kensington Temple is praying for you. London City Church is praying for you. And we're going to follow up from this program and to continue to pray for you and to support you so that the gospel can continue through your work. And so give our very best love and blessing to Simone and to your family. And may God continue to use us all, and especially use you. So thank you so much for joining with us today, Claudio.
Thank you, Pastor Colin. We're waiting for you in Rome. There are many pastors that they ask me, but when Colin is coming back, when we're going to do something with him, they appreciate you, your teaching here in Italy. So we are expecting you to come, and we can do a conference in Rome again. It's something that I personally miss so much, just to have some, fellowship with you together.
Thank you for that invitation. I'm sure that the Lord will open the door for us to go back to visit you and to minister once again in Italy after COVID, and with all the opportunities that God is opening up for us all in different parts of the world. We thank God for these days, great days for the gospel. And thank you also to you for joining us today. So till next time, when we focus on something else the Lord is doing in another region of the world, God bless you. Don't forget, keep praying for us and pray for Claudio and Simone. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you.